jembor zoldan hingmi jang zone monum jembor ngam ja ta agro dargam zanto shermaldo tomba tuje janla ki shom sarane jaro zerni jang kunsa jawar tuje shanlo yelarman jime panzo jang la soran
The supreme, profound, and sublime Dharma is difficult to encounter in a billion eons. Now I see it, hear it, receive it, and kept it. I vow to attain the true meaning of the Tathagata. In order to liberate all sentient beings, let us generate the supreme bodhicitta. Well, we have already reached to the part where Phuntsol Rinpoche arrived at Atiling. Yesterday, as I said, that the center is situated in a forest. I'll show you two photos. The first one is a photo of Atiling embraced by the forest. You can see that photo. And then the next one is the trees over here. The trees are not like ancient trees or anything like that. Rather, they're very tall. And then the trees, the forest over here. Then the next photo you can see you can see the place where Phuntsol Rinpoche resided over there. And then the next one is next one, you can't really see the center. Apparently the center is still there, except that the places, the residence Phuntsol Rinpoche lived in is no longer part of the center. And this one is a statue of Padmasambhava. It is still there, because in California, which is a place that tend to have lots of wildfires, so Padmasambhava statue was constructed over there. And then because of this statue, no wildfire ever happened around that region. That is why locals also really appreciate this statue. So that's my introduction to Atiling. And now let's look at the teachings Phuntsol Rinpoche give at Napa Valley or in Napa Valley. Each of those teachings given by Rinpoche were priced to charge. A ticket would be charged for people who wanted to attend. Also, the books are now available. The English book is $140, and the Chinese version is 1,400 RMB. When you're holding this book, it's really quite expensive, very precious. When you think about to attend these teachings, how much you have to spend for the books and how much you have to spend for attending this teaching and so on, 1,400 is the monthly allowance for, is a few months worth of monthly allowance that you can get over here. But now you can attend these classes and receive these precious Dharma teachings without paying anything. They're free at charge. You don't even have to pay for the books over here. So some of our fellow Dharma Sangha over here, if you don't have the books yet, I still have some over here, and then you can get it tomorrow. Well, if I were to give it to you, because I think in the past few times people actually paid for the cost price, so I'm not sure what would be the best. Anyhow, whatever would be the best for you would be the easiest. It is not to gain any profit at all. During the Dharma assembly period of time, I really hope all of the hotels, restaurants do not elevate your pricing. During certain places, whenever it is a tourist season, the owners usually would elevate their pricing. But during the time where we have more people to come to Larangar to attend Dharma assemblies and so on, as Buddhists, we should not try to earn money from them. Rather, it is the time to provide service. There are people who have faith but no money, and there are people without faith but with money. There are different kinds of people. So I hope some of the Dharma Sangha, some of the Sangha who actually come here, if you have difficulties, I think it would be the best for us to provide service to them, to provide a place for them to stay, and do not elevate the pricing just because there are more people and less rooms. I think it is the best to provide some convenience. Of course, if we were to provide everything for free, then people would not cherish those opportunities anymore. So we should find a balance and try our best to provide a place for people to stay and all kinds of convenience for them. On July the 9th, Phuntsukul Rinpoche would give teachings and empowerments to people. And throughout this period of time when Phuntsukul Rinpoche was residing at Napa Valley, he gave teachings at Lincoln Theater. The theater is really close. It's about only over 10 minutes or so. Whenever you have the opportunity, I really encourage you to go as well. I went to San Francisco and Los Angeles as well as Seattle. I went to Stanford, Berkeley University, also the Google Center at Seattle. I really wanted to go, but because of my very dense itinerary at that time, I couldn't go back to the Lincoln Center anymore. But it's really not too far. The teaching event was jointly organized by Chadu Gompa and Pacific Region Yeshe Ningpo. Lincoln Center is a very international center where you can see different kinds of flags at the front door. It is considered as an international conference center. You can see the different flags at the front gate. But now when we look at those photos, it seems to be rather quite weather-beaten, but it's been 30 years since my last visit. The majority of the audience consisted of Buddhists who had faith in Nyingma lineage and had been practicing sacred mantra for many years. Most of these practitioners came from the entire length of the west coast of the U.S. and as far as Hawaii and Rocky Mountains. The theater that could seat over 1,000 people was completely full, and people of many different nationalities and skin colors warmly welcomed Jigme Phuntsukul Rinpoche. People were quite happy. You can see that from the video as well. The video will be distributed to the different classes, and you can look at it. A little while ago, many of you had already seen this video, and the people were quite touched by it. The translator for this series of empowerments and teachings was a translator and a practitioner named Chökyi Nyingma, Richard Barron. His Lama is Chadu Rinpoche. Phuntsukul Rinpoche therefore joked about them, saying that the Lama Chadu Rinpoche has white beard, his disciple Chökyi Nyingma has yellow beard, and the son of Chadu Rinpoche has black beard. On the afternoon of July the 9th, Chojé gave the empowerment of Tendro Nyuso, a terma reviewed by Tertong Sogyo. This terma contains three kinds of practices: elaborate, intermediate, and brief. This time, Rinpoche gave the empowerment for the intermediate practice. And the differences between the three will be explained later in this book. And then Phuntsok Rinpoche gave the first lecture on Chetsun Nyingtig. On the morning of July 10th, Chojé gave the empowerment of Chetsun Nyingtig based on Jamgon Kongtrul Lodro Thayé's commentary entitled The Perfect Sacred Bindu, the most essential instruction manual of the Great Chetsun, profound essence of Vimalamitra that distills the essence of Upadesha class of Mahasandhi. The Chetsun Nyingtig empowerment was over 2 hours. Later, let's see if we will have an opportunity to receive this empowerment, maybe not this year. Let's look at how things will turn out in the future. But for those of you who have already received the Maha'ati, then I think it would be the best for you to receive this empowerment as well. But I think for those of you who received the Ati empowerment, I think you can still receive this teaching. In the afternoon, he began teaching the Chetsun Nyingtig terma reviewed by Jamyang Khyentse Wangpo. The teaching was given in 4 lectures, and this was the first one. And then Phuntsok Rinpoche recited a verse from Chetsun Nyingtig. This is the verse that we chanted very often at Mount Wutai, because at Mount Wutai there is a Vimalamitra as well as Manjushri. So this is one of the verses that these 2 verses, including the one for Manjushri and this one for Vimalamitra, as well as the last verse of entering the way of a bodhisattva. So back at the time when we went to Mount Wutai, these 3 verses are the ones that we chanted. This is the first class. Having perfected the 4 visions of clear light, your awareness arose as the unchanging 5 kayas, pure from the great transference, rainbow kaya or deathless Vimalamitra. Look upon me with loving kindness and compassion, and immediately bestow blessings of direct realization. This is the verse that Phuntsok Rinpoche recited at the time. After reciting this, and then he continued to say that our root teacher, Buddha Shakyamuni, who is endowed with great compassion, loving kindness, and skillful means, gave rise to Supreme Bodhicitta many aeons ago. Then, over 3 countless aeons, he diligently engaged in the accumulation of merit and finally manifested the attainment of Buddhahood in Bodh Gaya, India. After attaining Buddhahood, in order to benefit ordinary and extraordinary beings, both of whom were to be tamed by the teachings of common vehicle, the Buddha turned the first wheel of Dharma on the Four Noble Truths at Deer Park to the 5 human bhikshus and 80,000 celestial beings. Later, at the Vulture Peak, he turned the wheel of Dharma for the second time on the absence of characteristics in order to benefit all sentient beings to be tamed through the Mahayana path. By teaching the extensive, middling, and concise Prajnaparamita Sutras, the Buddha established the view that all phenomena from material forms to the Buddha's omniscient wisdom are empty in nature. Then, for extraordinary sentient beings who follow the Mahayana path, the Buddha turned the 3rd wheel of Dharma on fully distinguishing the essence beyond the trace of doubt at Vaishali and various other locations. Afterwards, for those with the sharpest capacity, the Buddha gave the Vajrayana teachings of sacred mantra in a secret and brief manner. The Vajrayana teachings are taught by the Buddha in the last turning of the Dharma wheel of the Buddha. So this is the third turning of the Dharma wheel. And then the Buddha gave the secret mantra teachings in a secret and brief manner. For example, he taught the Gyurasamaja Tantra. There used to be a Chinese translation of Gyurasamaja Tantra, but the translation was not done in the perspective or view of a Tantra, so it's not really used, but the translation, well, it's rather very difficult, so the translation would be difficult. The Chinese translation was translated back in Song Dynasty, and some of the wording as well as the translator probably were influenced by the atmosphere back then, so the translation wasn't from that proper perspective, which is also known as the King of Tantras. In Udayana, the Kalachakra Tantra at the Great Stupa of Danyakataka in southern India and so forth. In brief, in different places where celestial beings, Nagas, Yakshas, and Gandharvas, Garudas dwell, the Buddha taught the Vajrayana teaching of sacred mantra to benefit those who are of extraordinary faculties. Upon passing into Parinirvana, the Buddha prophesied 8 years after my passing in Dhanakosha Lake in the northwestern part of Udayana, a great being even greater than me, Padmasambhava, will appear in this world. Also, Vajradhara, one of the 12 founding teachers of Dzogchen, conferring many tantras, including the reverberation of sound tantra at the time when the human lifespan was of infinite years. This tantra contains a prophecy saying that during the age of strife, when the 5 kinds of degeneration become rampant, Garab Dorje, Jampo Shengen, Sri Singha, Jnana Sutra, and others will reveal the most profound and supreme Dharma teaching, the great perfection. To be specific, the Tantra mentions the daughter of Dhanakosha, her son, Pramodavajra, of no father. Because Garab Dorje doesn't have a father, because Garab Dorje is a manifested body. This prophesies the appearance of Garab Dorje. Then Manjushri Mitra, which is the prophecy of Jampo Shengen, patron Sri Simha, predicts Sri Simha, and Jnana Sutra foretells Jnana Sutra. In addition, Padmasambhava and Vimalamitra would become the 2 great masters to spread the clear light teaching of Dzogchen in the dark land of Tibet. These are all included in the related tantras. Vimalamitра's system of teaching follows the 17 tantras of the quintessential sacred heart essence cycle. The 17 tantras of Nyingma, and within his tradition, there are the 4 volumes of profound scriptures. These volumes of texts are summarized into 119 essential piece instructions. This is the cycle of Vimalamitra, which is also known as the Old Nyingtig or Common Nyingtig. On the other hand, based on the tantras such as Blazing Clear, Expanse Tantra, and the 6 essential tantras that grant liberation through wearing. Padmasambhava transmitted his own complete heart essence cycle of control Yishi Tsogyo within 7 years at the sacred site of the Joto Tidro cave, as if giving a most precious jewel. These teachings are collectively called the Pema Nyingtig, also known as the New Nyingtig or Terma Nyingtig. Some have said that all teachings of Karma Nyingtig have a long duration in this world, and the blessings are not so swift, while terma Nyingtig's blessings have shorter duration but it become much quicker. Well, Annie NBC, who was the one who worked at White House, sent me a message saying that the book is really precious and it contains a great amount of knowledge and message. So we can see that when you look at this, when you look at this English version of the book, there are lots of, when you even look at the index and look at the glossary, there are lots of information within. So the old Nyingtig or karma Nyingtig, based on tantras such as blazing clear expanse tantra and the 6 essential tantras and grant liberation through wearing. Padmasambhava then transmitted his own complete heart essence cycle to Kongtrul Yeshi Tsogyo within 7 years at the sacred site of Lodro Thayé cave, as if giving the most precious jewel. And this teaching is Pema Nyingtig, also known as the new Nyingtig or terma Nyingtig. So it is said that all teachings of karma Nyingtig or the old Nyingtig has a long duration in this world, but their blessings are not as swift, while the terma Nyingtig's blessings have a shorter duration but come much quicker. Both karma Nyingtig transmitted by Vimalamitra and the terma Nyingtig transmitted by Padmasambhava are known as the mother heart essence. During the Nyingtig Yapshi transmission, I did give a brief instruction or brief introduction of the 4 Nyingtigs, but Phuntsuk Rinpoche over here did not prepare anything, rather just this information just flow out of his wisdom. Not only during my introduction of the Nyingtig Yapshi in class, I think there was a written version of it in the Always Remember as well in that text. You can look into it. To explain the hidden meaning of these 2 mother heart essence texts, the omniscient Lodro Thayé composed the Lama Nyingtig and Kongtrul Nyingtig. To fully explain the essential point of Vima Nyingtig, he composed the Lama Nyingtig, which is subdivided into 51 sections of teachings. To elucidate the essential points of the sacred meaning of Kongtrul Nyingtig, he composed the Kongtrul Nyingtig. Because of this, the Lama Nyingtig and Kongtrul Nyingtig are known as the air heart essence texts. The 2 mother heart essence texts and 2 air heart essence texts constitute the very famous Nyingtig Yapshi, the 4 sections of the heart essence. Additionally, the omniscient Master Longchenpa also compiled most of the profound sacred instructions of the heart essence lineage into the text called Jamyang Khyentse. I think there was a time Toko Longtok also bestowed the empowerment of Jamyang Khyentse and the instructions as well. Not sure if all of you had received it. Anyhow, in the last few years, the majority of you had already received the Nyingtig Yapshi, which is really important because this is the most essential of the Nyingma teachings. So at the very beginning of the teaching, Phuntsuk Rinpoche gave the introduction of the Nyingtig Yapshi, which is really quite essential. Let's stop here today.